Hi, it's Mrs. Roberts, Corner Lake Media Specialist, and it's time for another First Chapter Friday. The book we're going to read together today is called Becoming Muhammad Ali by James Patterson and Kwame Alexander. And I'm going to read the back of the book to you because I love the way this book is set up. Before the fight, a reporter asked me if I thought I was as good as Joe Louis or Sugar Ray was at my age. And I told him I don't think I'm as good, I'm better. Got more flow than Joe, more slay than Ray. I'm sweeter, stronger, and faster. As a matter of fact, I'm so fast, I can't even catch myself. So that's the back. Here's the front. And it says, before he was Muhammad Ali, he was Cassius Clay. So this book has, the beginning part is written like a normal, chapter book. But after that first little chapter, it's written in prose. So I'm going to read a little bit of both of those parts today. All right, round one. I remember everything. You probably would have too. That night was a piece of American history. The Clay family phone was a dusky black with rotary dial, and it sat on a wooden table in the neat as a pin living room of the house on Grand Avenue in Louisville, Kentucky. Some 20 of us were crammed like sardines into the room, waiting for that phone to ring. Waiting for Cassius to call home. It was a February night in 1958, and I remember it like it was yesterday. My best friend, Cassius, was 300 miles north in Chicago, and that night he was fighting for a championship in the Golden Gloves boxing tournament. Cassius wasn't a professional yet, just an amateur. Tall, but a little skinny, and a lot raw. Only 16 years old like me. I'm Lucius, by the way. Nice to meet you. You can call me Lucky. All my friends do. Cassius had already won plenty of bouts all over Kentucky, but the Chicago Golden Gloves was the big time. When he won there, we all knew it would be lights out. From now on, people everywhere would know the name Cassius Clay. And so we waited for the phone to ring. I remember that living room was so packed with friends and family and neighbors that we could hardly move. The smell of roast chicken and sweet potato pie and cheese grits mixed with the smell of paint and turpentine. Mr. Clay, Cassius's dad, who everybody called Cash, was a sign and billboard painter. And he kept his work supplies right there in the house. Mrs. Clay, someone called out, when that boy of yours gets famous, he ought to buy you a bigger house. Oh, you know he will, she answered, and then she looked right at me. Isn't that right, Lucius? Yes, ma'am, you know it is. Cassius promised you a big house. I remember that Mrs. Clay was too nervous to eat, but she wasn't too nervous to talk about how proud she was. My Cassius did everything early, she was saying to a group of ladies. He crawled early, talked walked on his toes like a dancer. All the ladies laughed, as if they hadn't heard that story 100 times before. But Mrs. Clay just couldn't help it. Cassius always told her he was bound to be the greatest with a capital G, and she believed it with all her heart. So did I. So did everybody in Louisville's West End. Come on, phone, ring-a-ding-ding. The men and boys around the room, including Cassius' little brother Rudy, looked at each other with big grins and made punching motions with their fists. The big fight should be over by now. Under those bright lights in the middle of that huge Chicago stadium, Cassius would be standing tall in the ring with one hand over his head like always, his opponent next to him with his head bowed down in defeat. Then the phone rang. It was Cassius with news about the fight, and he told it like only Cassius could tell a story. So now we're into the prose section. Before the fight, a reporter asked me if I thought I was as good as Joe Louis or Sugar Ray was at my age, and I told him, I don't think I'm as good, I'm better. Got more flow than Joe, more slay than Ray. I'm sweeter, stronger, and faster. As a matter of fact, I'm so fast, I can't even catch myself. Cassius Clay versus Alex Watt, February 24, 1958. Here's how it all went down. The bell rang in Chicago Stadium, and I could barely see the lightweight rush me through the rank cigar smoke that filled the arena. In the first round, he threw punches like pitches, fast and straight, striking air and striking out. So I played peekaboo in the second, sending quick jabs to his head. You ain't ready for Cassius, I whispered. Then I shook him up with a left and took him down hard in the third. He sure wasn't ready, but neither was I when I found out who I was fighting next. Cassius Clay versus Francis Turley, February 25th, 1958, only 1 day later. Frank Turley was a cowboy from Montana, meaner looking than an angry ox, with fists even meaner. They said he broke a guy's nose with a left jab, then smiled when the joker went tumbling, out of the ring, blood spurting every which way. I'm gonna lick you good, boss, he said, winking at me before the bell rang, and I believed that he believed he would. All right. To find out what happens, check out Becoming Muhammad Ali. Have a great day.